Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. As you know, I am your course instructor Tuba Asif for the course Weight and Weight Management. Welcome to this today's presentation about adjusted and ideal body weight. As we have discussed in our previous lecture, that what are the complications one can face if he is overweight or obese, the chances of getting diseases, chronic illnesses are much higher when you have put on weight and you are not losing that weight, or you are having certain difficulties and hurdles in maintaining the weight loss. So today we are going to discuss that what is the concept of adjusted and ideal body weight and how we can overcome those challenges. So, what is body weight? Prior to that, I would like to discuss the core objectives of today's lecture. After this lecture, you will be able to know about the concepts that are related with body composition. You will be able to know that what is the adjusted body weight and the ideal body weight. You will be able to know about the use of ideal body weight and adjusted body weight for calculating calorie requirements and for obesity management. So now let us discuss that what is healthy body weight. As we know that when we face difficulty in maintaining our weight, the main reason is that whether we are having too many calories as compared to our required calories, that means that our energy expenditure is less than energy intake, and as a result, we will become overweight or obese. Similarly, if we are expending much energy but taking less calories, we will be uh, underweight. So the main goal, the main aim, and the main objective should be that there must be a balance between energy intake and energy expenditure. Only and only then we will be able to maintain a healthy body weight. So, a healthy body weight is the weight that is related with health and well being, physical and mental well being, and longevity. It is the weight at which the risk of illness and death is usually prevented and is at its lowest. What a healthy weight for you depends not only on how much you weigh, but also on your body composition, your body frame, whether you are ectomorph, mesomorph, or endomorph. Body composition refers to the proportion of your body that is fat versus lean tissue. As we know, our body composition is divided into two categories: fat mass and fat free mass. Fat mass includes the things, the all the organs, or all the fat your body has, and the fat free mass is the muscle mass, the skeleton, and the water content without the fat. It is important because the risks associated with being overweight are affected by how much body fat you have and where that fat is being located. Most overweight people are carrying too much fat, and it is the extra fat that increases their health risk. So now, body composition. An accurate assessment of body composition is an integral part of a comprehensive health screening. As we know, the evaluation of body composition is very important, and it can be quantified by the main structural components like your body muscle, your fat content, and your bone structures. Healthy weight tables help in terms of measuring health. Usually, we have two main indicators: height and weight. So, such tables are used as references, and most individuals use to assess the appropriateness of their weight. Unfortunately, these tables lack the completeness, and these are just guidelines and reference, and they does not provide specific or accurate information about the exact body composition. This is important because research has demonstrated that it is the excess body fat, not the total body weight, that is associated with health risk. So, body composition assessment is central to helping overweight people to lose weight and to ultimately manage their body weight. A thorough understanding of the accuracy of available body composition assessments is critical for you as a lifestyle and weight management consultation. And as we know, the methods of assessment vary in their expense, in their precision, in the biasness. Furthermore, the interpretation of body composition information requires sophistication and expertise. There are certain methods, there are certain ways, certain procedures that gives us insight about measuring our body weight and our different body composition ratios, but they lack in one way or another. We have the waist and hip ratio, we have the total BMI indicators, but they usually lack in telling about the main composition of the fat versus protein or the fat versus total body weight. Now, how can we estimate the body composition? There is unfortunately only one accurate method for assessing the body composition, that is the post-mortem, the dissection of the body during the post-mortem examinations. While a dissection is the most precise and accurate method to measure body composition, it is the only true way to measuring it directly. Since there are no direct method for assessing body composition in living beings, all body composition assessments are indirect and are based upon the assumptions of various properties of the body. Two scientists, Martin and Drinkwater, proposed three stages, three levels of validation or accuracy for body composition assessment. The first level is the direct assessment. That means it involves dissection. The second level is indirect in nature and it measures a parameter after the fact, and the calculation of a relative body fat percentage is based upon the relationship between measured component and the body fat. And the third level techniques are doubly indirect since predictions are based upon level 2 estimates. So there are three stages described by Martin and Drinkwater. Assessing body composition from body weight. As we know, overweight or obesity is an excess of adipose tissue resulting in increased body weight. Body weight is easily measured and can provide useful information when a weight is adjusted for height or your body structure. A nutritionist should always measure body weight directly since self-reports tend to be inaccurate. Many clients will not weigh themselves for several months or even years and may provide verbal reports of very outdated weights. So, we usually recommend that the nutritionist or the health practitioner self take the height and weight calculation by herself. Now, the ideal body weight and the adjusted body weight. These terms are used interchangeably. The IBW is the ideal body weight and ABW is the adjusted body weight. The most common IBW equation is used in the divine formula. Now, I would like to discuss about the ideal body weight. Ideal body weight is basically the optimal weight that is associated with the maximum life expectancy for a given particular height. Before the use of a BMI as a common and the most easiest way of determining the nutritional status, prior to that, the total body weight above 20% of the ideal body weight was termed for obesity. However, the use of ideal body weight indicates that all patients of the same height should receive the same dose. It also fails to account for changes in body composition associated with obesity. More specifically, in morbid obese patients, underdosing may occur because they calculated ideal body weight less than low body weight. Now, the question of ideal body weight historically is a subject of the study that raises more questions than answers. That is obesity linked with morbidity or mortality, and thus is it important to keep your body weight in the ideal range? In 1959 study, the Metropolitan Life Insurance Company suggested ideal body weight for men and women based on three indicators: their total weight, their height, and their body frame, whether it is the ectomorph or it is mesomorph, or it is endomorph. However, comorbid factors are also very important, but they were not considered very much important in that survey. That include the factor of smoking, or the genetics, or family history, or the certain diseases. Today, ideal body weight remains still controversial. Here I have given the equations to determine the ideal body weight for male and female. They vary, and there are certain constants. In the male, the ideal body weight is calculated by adding 2.3 kilogram for each inch over 5 feet in 50 kilograms, and for female it is by adding 2.3 kg for each inch over 5 feet in every 45.5 kilograms. Now, the adjusted body weight is used by some practitioners, by some dietitians, for obese patients when calculating their total energy requirements. Adipose tissue is not as metabolically active as lean tissue. So, using actual body weight in equations to predict basal energy expenditure for obese persons may result in an overestimation. The actual equation is based on the assumption that 25% of the excess weight in an obese person is metabolically active tissue. The use of this equation, that is that by multiplying 0.25 factor with the adjusted body weight minus ideal body weight, and the sum of it would plus ideal body weight, is somehow controversial. Some use this equation when clients are more than 125 to 130% above than their ideal body weight, but the recent research indicates that it may be appropriate for only those clients who have class 2 or class 3 obesity. Then adjusted body weight was also developed as a size descriptor for the use in pharmacokinetic experiments. Now, the ideal and usual body weight for height. Estimating usual and ideal body weight is another key component in the nutritional assessment. This allows determination of person weight change from actual weight to the usual body weight. Estimation of ideal body weight can be done by consulting weight and height reference charts. However, this does not present a point of reference for an estimated ideal body weight for individuals so often used in the clinical settings. A practical approach to estimate the ideal body weight for height involves selecting the midpoint of the median frame and determine an ideal body weight within a range of standard deviation 5%. Now, there is some controversy between the realistic body weight for the overweight client. Reasonable or realistic weight versus the ideal weight is crucial for you to understand when working with overweight clients. There are many unfortunate situations have occurred when naive healthcare practitioners provide assigned unrealistically goals of maintaining body weight that are not realistic. Individuals who have a lifetime history of obesity, that is the childhood obesity, a strong family history, some various other medical or health conditions, they cannot cope, or they cannot lose, they cannot shed so much weight. Even they try so much hard, even they do strenuous physical activity, but they cannot, and they can never be come into the range of the ideal weight. Here I would like to give an example of a girl, that is Lisa. She is heighted 5 feet and 4 inches and 35 years old. She has 4 children, and her weight was about, while reviewing Lisa's weight and dietary history, in college she weighed around 175 pounds. With the birth of each child, she gained about 60 more pounds, and she was able to lose only about 35 to 40% pounds afterwards. She now weighs 250 pounds. Lisa has dieted down to 150 pounds in the past, but maintained that weight only 2 weeks before starting to regain. She did the underwater weighing, and she came to a conclusion that Lisa's body fat percentage was 47%. After seeing an article in a popular women's magazine, Lisa seeks your services, stating that she wants to reach her ideal weight of 130 pounds with a body fat percentage of 15% to 18% fat. She tells that even at 150 pounds, she still felt too fat. So we can see that her ideal body weight, according to those charts, is 161 pounds. But because she has a history of weight gain and she is never being able to shed much weight, it is not a realistic approach to have a total of 160 pounds. So these simple calculations illustrate how unrealistic ideal weights may be for the significantly overweight individuals. There are many reasons why it is unlikely for Risa that she could maintain a weight as low as 130 pounds for any significant period of time. For example, as body weight increased beyond 140% of the ideal body weight, a strong probability exists that both her fat cell number and fat cell size have increased. The increased number of fat cells will make it very difficult for her to maintain a traditional ideal weight. So now discuss the weight loss goals that we set with overweight clients. As we know, there is so much pressure in our society to look more beautiful, to be lean in physique, and to have a zero body image. So many clients begin a weight loss program with a certain specific weight goal in their mind. It is very important to determine that whether this goal of the determined weight is realistic or unrealistic. Caution must be used in assigning an ideal or good weight. As a lifestyle and the weight management consultant, you should help people set a primary goal of the reducing their body weight by 10%. It is usually preferred as, for example, if a lady weighs around 250 pounds, the main realistic goal is to shed off 10% of her total body weight. As after this primary goal has been met, it is easy to identify the next reasonable plan. So, for example, if a patient with obesity comes to you, what you should do, first of all, you should keep in mind that the weight goal she is keeping in her mind should be realistic. The main approachable goal is to reduce her body weight by 10%. Then you are supposed to give her a complete strategy that includes the dietary management, the physical activity, the lifestyle modifications, the medication if she needs that. So this is a complete set of management. You need to tell your clients that what is the importance of losing the weight. You must tell your client that what could be the outcomes if he or she does not lose weight, what could be the health hazards, what complications she can foresee in the near future. So help your clients understand the importance of losing and keeping off any amount of excess weight is the greatest challenge. Usually clients readily accept the goal that are unrealistic, though socially desirable, than those that are realistic and achievable. So your prime concern, your prime goal as a health practitioner, as a health dietitian, that you make sure that your client is choosing a realistic goal in the weight loss journey. It is often discouraging for clients to hear that modest weight loss goals, for example, 10% of the present weight, should be realistic. However, it is important for you to establish realistic and attainable goals from the outset. So, the counseling is very much important. You have to take your patient in confidence. You need to keep him more aware of his health status. You need to make him ensure what goals are realistic and what goals are not approachable. Now, I will be discussing about the calorie requirements for weight management. So, how many calories do we need? What are calories? As we know that calories are the unit of the energy in the which our body is expending energy, and they are they are dependent on many factors like age, gender, size, and activity level. As we know, as we tend to grow, as we become older, the infants require less amount of calories. as compared to the teenagers, and the adults require the highest amount of calories throughout the lifespan. The elders again, they tend to need lesser amount of total calories as compared to the adults one. Gender is also very important point indicator. Female requires lesser calories than male, but their requirements for certain nutrients, that is iron or you can say calcium, are more than the male ones. The body size is also very important, and their level of physical activity is also a major indicator. To keep your weight stable, the energy you consume in food must be equal to the amount your body uses. Your body, expends that energy for voluntary and involuntary action. Voluntary actions may include your running, your doing chores, your sitting, your posture, everything. Your involuntary actions could be like the phenomena taking place all the time inside your body, the pumping of blood by your heart, the digestion of food, the movement of food, the bowel movements. So, when the energy expenditure becomes equal to the energy intake, your body is in the balance. There is an energy balance which is usually the more desirable point, and your body weight remains constant. And being in energy balance, however, does not necessarily mean that you're at healthy weight. Energy intake can be balanced when you with energy output at any weight, obese, lean, or in between. Likewise, regardless of your current weight, if you consume more calories than you burn, your body weight tends to increase. And as your body stores energy in the form of fat, your total fat composition would be increased. If you burn more calories than you consume, your body will use some of the stored energy and you will lose weight. So the thing is that weight loss is something that requires a lot of effort, not just in selecting the food items, but also in selecting a whole new lifestyle. So the weight gain is very easy to attain because you're supposed to increase your energy intake than your energy requirement, and the weight loss is something that you have to take less energy, but you should spend more energy. But the balance comes when your total intake becomes equal to your total energy expenditure. Now, calculating the energy needs. Energy expenditure requirement is the amount of energy predicted to maintain your energy balance in a healthy person. There are equations, there are several equations to calculate the EER values, and they were determined from studies that used doubly labeled water to measure energy expenditure. They take into account age, gender, height, weight, life stage, and the level of physical activity. Before calculating the EER, a person must estimate his or her activity level, whether he is sedentary, he is active, he is moderately active, he is very active, or he is doing some strenuous task. To be in the low active category, an adult weighing 70 kg would need to expend an amount of energy equivalent to walking about 2 miles at a rate of 3 to 4 miles per hour in addition to the activities of daily living. To be active, an adult would need to perform daily exercise equivalent to walking at least 4.4 miles per day at the rate 3 to 4 miles per hour, and to be very active, he or she should need to perform the equivalent of walking at least 10.3 miles at this rate in addition to the activities of daily living. Here is the chart that describes about the physical activity level and their constants. Each physical activity level is assigned a numerical physical activity value that can be used to calculate his EER. Sedentary lifestyle includes the activities of daily living and no moderate or vigorous activities. The low active includes a daily activity equivalent to at least 30 minutes of moderate activity and a minimum of 15 to 30 minutes of vigorous activity. Active lifestyle engages in at least 60 minutes of moderate activities, or a minimum of 30 to 60 minutes of vigorous activity depending upon the intensity of the activity. And the very active is the one in which one engages in at least 2.5 hours of moderate activity or minimum of 1 to 1.75 hours of vigorous activity depending upon the intensity of the activity. So now how can we calculate the EER? We need to determine your weight in kilograms and your height in meters. Weight in kilogram is calculated by dividing the number of pounds by 2.2 pounds per kilogram. For example, if one weighs 72 kilograms, we need to divide it, one is weighing about 172 pounds, we will divide it by 2.2 to get the answer in kilograms. We need to calculate the height in meter, and for that we need to convert the height into inches, then multiply it by 0.0254 in per meter. Then determine your physical activity factor, then use the appropriate EER prediction equation to find your EER. There are certain equations given here which can tell you about what kind of physically active you are. And for example, if we see here in the third row, for men greater than 19 years of age, the equation for EER is 662 minus 9.53 is the constant that is multiplied with your age in years, with your physical activity factor, whether it is sedentary, whether it is active or it is moderately active or it is vigorous active, then multiply it with 15.91 and then the weight in kg, and then 539.6 into height in meters. The only component of the EER equations over which you have control is the amount of activity you get. All the other factors are usually constant. The effect activity level has on EER can be seen by comparing total calorie needs at two different activity levels. For example, a woman who is 30-year-old and who is 5 feet and 5 inches tall and weighs around 59 kilograms, she uses about 1900 calories per day if she is sedentary. If she increases her activity to the active level, her calorie requirement would be increased to 2370 calories per day, which will further help in the weight management. So I would like to conclude my presentation here by giving you a take-home message, that is, an accurate body composition estimation can offer valuable information to both you and your client and can become the cornerstone of a successful weight management program. By understanding the limitations and the strengths of assessing body composition, you can help your client set realistic, attainable goals that result in both weight loss and ultimately long-term weight management. So the weight management is if you are obese, you need to keep your diet in account, your physical activity, your lifestyle modification, and so many other factors we will be discussing in the next lectures. I hope you have learned something from this presentation. See you next time. Allah Hafiz.